Hi everyone, over to you, Yllana.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to Design Operations Symposium for our next session with Frances Yllana from Coforma, talking us through DesignOps for DesignOps. Not only is Frances a skilled design operations leader, she is also a writer and facilitator who empowers and champions people to succeed beyond their own expectations. Frances joined Coforma earlier this year as their first design operations manager. There, she supports and empowers her teams and partners to craft creative digital solutions and build technology products that improve people's lives. She's dedicated to fostering growth and learning as a host of AIGA's monthly webinar series, DesignOps Ed, and serving as a professor for the DesignOps Assembly Learning Labs. Frances also serves on AIGA's National Board of Directors. Don't forget to use the Q&A tab box to send us your questions for Frances at the end of the session. We'll get to those. Let's all welcome Frances.
Thank you so much for the intro. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. All right. Hi, I'm Frances Yllana, and I'm honored to be able to share my thoughts with you today. My presentation today is dedicated to the DesignOps community and everything you do, to the community that has welcomed and accepted me, has encouraged me to grow, and has given me confidence and inspired me in the work we do every day. As design operations practitioners, our job is to optimize and empower our teams to do their best work. How do we apply design ops to our own work so we can empower ourselves as individuals and teams to build successful functions and make design ops benefits more accessible to teams of all sizes and resources, all while growing our impact on the companies we serve? I hope this talk can help advance our discipline by showing us and our colleagues across our practices to look at our own work and goals and apply the same amount of compassion to ourselves as we do our own stakeholders and teams. So the order of today's chat: what is design ops? Just in case we have some new folks listening. The ops purpose for impact. Stop, calibrate, and listen. Setting the table and taking a seat at the table. And lastly, some reasons why we do what we do. So Design Ops 101 for those that are new. Design ops at any organization will always be fluid. It will always be living, breathing, growing, and changing, because it will always have the same purpose: to inspire and empower ever-scaling, evolving teams at flux. We do that job by focusing our work on empowering people, aligning and improving our processes, defining our team's impact and business value, championing our team's skills, insights, services, and their potential. Our focus helps drive our businesses, our partners, and our teammates towards success. And our focus helps provide engaging, fulfilling, and magnetic experiences for our teammates and clients. The world around us has been in a constant state of flux more than ever. Our companies must continue to evolve to respond to factors that require our organizations to bend and morph without breaking. We must understand our business's capabilities. We must create foundations that foster performance and resiliency. We must do the work to improve and maintain the foundations that are still being created as we're working on them. Design ops enables leaders and contributors to do their best work by building and cementing the framework that supports, facilitates, and extends the work. We map capabilities, we establish requirements, we align with high-level outcomes, we develop training and retention strategies, we ensure resilience amongst our peers, and that's just a short list of some of the things that we do. We also look outward and connect with our partners across practices. We grow awareness of the design practices and ways of operating. We build positive perceptions of our team in and outside of our company. We work with practice leaders to collaborate and co-create ways to support the company mission, goals, and objectives. We weave human-centered design and continuous improvement into our approach and work. We are outcome-focused and systems-oriented in our thinking to advance the quality of our services. Last month, I asked the Design Ops community and the Design Ops Assembly Slack about their frustrations. And I also drew frustrations from the State of Design Ops report from last year, and I sprinkled some of my frustrations in there too. The frustrations we have, these are what we chose to take on: change management, changing mindset, changing context, creating foundations of order, creating buy-in, creating relationships across the organization, managing time, saving time, protecting people's time. The full breadth of the Design Ops menu, from the overarching strategy to the everyday tactical minutiae. These can be incredibly overwhelming and stressful challenges, And that's why we need strong foundations for our own personal ways of doing our best work, while also practicing self-care to keep us healthy and motivated so we don't burn out. Ask yourself, as I consider organizational change, what keeps me encouraged? It's very important to define what that encouragement is, because that strengthens your personal practice and processes. Across the ops landscape, there are different pillar sets that inform the structure of design ops efforts. We talk about design ops as people, practices, and platform, process, workflows, tools, culture, how we work together, how we get our work done, how our work creates impact. These are all very strong sets of pillars to build on. However, you need a steadfast foundation to reinforce the strength of those pillars. This foundation is laid by you, design ops practitioners, to withstand the rapid change and challenges our businesses are faced with every day. The foundation is reinforced when design ops teams pay design ops attention towards what makes us stronger in our own practice. In order to make the most impact with our work, we must find happiness and fulfillment in our own work. Before we focus on the pillar sets listed, we as design ops practitioners have our own architectural structure to examine, strengthen, and set up for endurance. That foundational element that has to come before any pillar is set is our personal purpose. We must define our purpose to influence a greater impact. So before I dive too deep into purpose, I want to encourage any of you who have not yet joined a design ops community of practice to do so. I personally have found so much value in being part of the Design Ops Assembly Slack and community, Rosenfeld Media's conference community, and the AIJ Design Ops Ed group. Being part of these communities is beyond networking. For me, the thing about being in these communities of practice, purpose, and passion is that I can see myself in other people's frustrations and celebrations, and the information we seek and try to share with each other. This community is an outstanding resource for teams of one as well as teams of many. Joining one of these is a way to see others like you and who might inspire you in your goals, but it's also a way for you to feel seen by others like you. And when you see the value in others, you can see the value that you can bring as well. To best define that value, it's helpful to look in the mirror at yourself and your purpose. When was the last time you spent time to identify or articulate your purpose with the same attention you paid to the work you do for others? This is where we turn the lens on ourselves. A common deliverable of human-centered design is the user persona. So turning the persona lens on yourself is an opportunity to step back and examine yourself to create a deep understanding of what is fundamental to creating an exceptional experience for yourself in your life and career. The goal is to look in from the outside and ask, who am I designing for? By understanding your expectations, concerns, and motivations, it's possible to redesign how you might define and approach your own success and joy. How might we identify and articulate what we need? How might we empathize with ourselves when we face hard challenges? How can we create an honest persona for purpose that can guide us to improve our own process, practice, and craft? I drafted this sample persona using data from the State of Design Ops report from 2021. It's pretty simple, but as I was drafting it, it didn't feel unfamiliar. It reminds me of a handful of friends and colleagues in design ops. As I walk through it, what resonates with you? What would you change or edit? What would your persona reveal? So this persona is named Jane X. She's a design ops manager living in the USA and working remotely. She's between 35 and 44 years old, and she also graduated with a BFA in visual design over a decade ago. Jane has since worked in the tech industry. Right before she became a design ops professional, Jane was a design director. Although she really loved leading and working within the craft, she finds great fulfillment in design operations, because she gets to focus solely on the team's health, success, and growth, which was the favorite part of her old job. The bureaucracy and lack of structure that comes with rapidly scaling organizations, though, can be frustrating, as well as not having a clear path for her own growth. Jane's top 5 values are advocacy, collaboration, adaptability, facilitation, and empowerment. Her top 5 strengths are leadership, patience, listening, creativity, and versatility. Take some time and write a purpose persona for yourself. It doesn't define your purpose, but it is a first step towards identifying it and the impact you want to have in your own life, in the lives around you, and those you work with and for. The next step is one that we take first in design ops to build the systems we put in place for our teams. Let's stop and calibrate so we can better define where we might be in our goals and progress, or where we want to start. On those foundations, we can then continue to iterate and improve the design of how we do things, how we treat ourselves, and how our work might create impact. We start with who we are now and where we are now. Remove any shoulds. Calibration is not about where we think we should be now or who we should be. Calibration is just about knowing where we are and where we stand. One way to calibrate around the work we need and want to do in our practice is by using the DesignOps canvas first iterated in 2017. I've transformed that canvas here into a personal ops canvas. Let's walk through it and see how it might help us identify our purpose and our North Star. This is very similar to the original canvas. Instead of what we do, we have expertise. Instead of who we are, we have identity. We still have communication, challenges, balance, management, and support, but the questions focus on self-reflection. So I'm just going to walk through it real quickly. Expertise. What value do we provide? What does good look like to me? What is our process? When are we in our flow state? What methods and tools have we mastered? What are our inputs and outputs? How do we do our best work? When we talk about ourselves, how do we describe ourselves? Where do we find fulfillment? What makes us happy? What makes us successful? How are we different? What do we value? What are our principles? What is our purpose? Inspiration-wise, who inspires us? What inspires us? Do we have mentors, coaches, and advisors? What challenges do we welcome? What opportunities do we seek? How would you describe your perfect day? Communication. How do we communicate with others? How do we communicate our needs to others? How do we talk about our value and evangelize for ourselves? How do we ask for or receive feedback and help? How do we share new knowledge and learnings? Support. What support do we need? From a balance standpoint, where do we direct our attention? Are we more autonomous or are we more for the common good? Management-wise, what is our mission? How do we set our goals? How do we continually improve? How do we track progress? How do we measure success? And do we have a North Star? In regards to challenges, what are our personal blockers? What is out of our control? How do we manage conflict? How do we handle trade-offs? And how do we manage risks? After creating our personal ops canvas, we can then move on to our purpose journey map, where we take what we've discovered about ourselves on the canvas and reflect on our past, present, and future states. As we look behind us, what have we accomplished? What have we learned? What have we improved upon? What challenges have we overcome? What successes have we achieved? Where could we have done better? Where did we spend the most time? What did we find more difficult than we anticipated? What's gotten in our way, and who and what helped us move forward? What personal or internal obstacles stood in our way and slowed our progress? As we look at today, what challenges do we face? What challenges surround us in our society, community, and our personal work and environment? What are our current goals? What milestones and activities can we distinguish towards those goals? What might get in our way? What do you want to create and learn? Who are we making this journey for? What are our tools and resources? What mindset, knowledge, data, skills, and resources do we need to achieve today's goals? Who might we ask for help and guidance? As we look towards the horizon, what are your future ambitions? What steps will it take to reach your future ambitions? What mindset, knowledge, data, skills, and resources do we need to work towards those? What personal or internal obstacles might stand in our way or slow our progress? What gaps do we need to cover? And how do we describe our perfect day? Do we have a more solid definition now of our purpose? What is our North Star? What is the truth that fuels or will continue to motivate us on our journey? After we've created our persona, our personal ops canvas, and our purpose journey map, it's time to then write a charter defining and achieving our truth. Like a project charter, this can act as the guiding document for how we approach our growth and goals while minding our well-being and expectations. The truth charter is something we can come back to every time we need to check ourselves, and it asks us to articulate our progress towards purpose through goal setting, scoping, tooling, sources of feedback, defining the cadence for self-check-ins, paying attention to our well-being and success. So quickly, defining our North Star. What is our purpose? What is the truth that connects our personal ambitions across our past, present, and future? What truth will our goals help us achieve? How would we describe our perfect day? Tools and skills. What is essential for us to meet our goals? What tools do we need, and what tools don't serve our purpose? What do we consider strength, and what skills do we need to develop to achieve our goals? From an advisor standpoint, who gives us the most honest and helpful feedback? Who do we turn to when we feel blocked and challenged? Who do we reach out to first when we want to celebrate achievements? We also have to make sure that we're scoping our goals. What is within the scope of achieving them? What is outside of scope? What might distract us from our goal? Where do we tend to overthink, overdo, or spend too much time? Then we need to make sure that we're articulating at least 3 to 5. What top 3 goals we want to achieve to move towards our North Star? What are the objectives and key results for each of them? How will we know we've succeeded? Self-care. How do we manage our well-being? How do we practice self-care when we're taking on a tough challenge? How do we keep ourselves encouraged and motivated? What do we need to be resilient? And what type of happiness do we seek? Time and rituals. We need to make sure that we're scheduling regular check-ins ahead of time to review and document our own progress. What time will we regularly dedicate to reaching and achieving our goals? What is the time box for achieving each goal that we have? And then milestones and peaks. What have we defined as milestones? What is a peak achievement for each goal that we have? How and when will we recognize success? When will we seek the next horizon? And then do we have a final goal in mind, or do we have a series of goals we want to achieve, and in what order? The persona, the canvas, the journey, and the charter are all just a handful of exercises you can translate from DesignOps for your projects and teams to DesignOps for your own personal purpose. The foundations for the work you do, whatever tool you use, the important factors are: 1, keep track of where you are in a moment. 2, continue to look back at your progress and celebrate your achievements and learn from your failures. 3, share your progress and lead through example. And 4, be what others might need to see. The time is now for DesignOps to facilitate, support, and lead organizational change. We not only lead by our doing, but in how we prioritize ourselves, understand our value, and pay attention to our own excellence. When we focus on our own excellence, we model that focus for others. By showing our value in our own value, we show our teams how and why they should value their own craft. Leadership today is not the leadership from 5 years ago or even last year. Leadership is not only changing rapidly, leadership is change. At the beginning of February 2020, I was able to attend the IXDA conference in Milan, where a few talks hypothesized what design skills were becoming the leadership skills needed in the new world of work. Just a few weeks later, those speculations weren't only challenged, but put through the test, proven, and they're still being proven. Since the pandemic started, we've seen the surge in growth of DesignOps teams within the companies they were expected to grow, but we've also seen it spread and scale quickly within consultancies and agencies. Why? I think it's because the old way of work is no longer viable. Command and control helicopter managers don't have a place in this new world of work, and neither do the skills associated with traditional and outdated business leadership models. After that conference, Doug Powell, former IBM head of design, doubled down on the thoughts he shared at the conference. In a follow-up article he wrote on Medium, he noted an MIT study that identified a number of leadership teams embracing new ways of working and leading. These new ways of leading that they identified included increasing transparency, demonstrating authenticity, and emphasizing collaboration and empathy. These skills now needed at the table aren't just design skills. Those, along with systems thinking, facilitation, and leading change, those are DesignOps superpowers. Over the last 10 years, we have demonstrated these are the ways we help empower our teams, and they're also the ways we're finding ourselves leading greater change transformations and influencing leadership. Paying attention to ourselves, our goals, and exercising our purpose is essential to us strengthening those superpowers and our growing ability and confidence to lead. Don't let ego or fear of ego block you. Personal development and achieving excellence and confidence is not about ego. It's about developing the best of yourself because you have so much to give your team on a daily basis, sometimes without credit or recognition. Even when we do get a seat at the table, we still find ourselves setting the table for everyone else. But to the DesignOps persona, to the purpose-driven archetype, that's part of our reason for doing what we do and why we should focus so intently on our own individual purposes. There are a few other reasons for finding and strengthening the purpose-laden foundations of our personal DesignOps. One of the reasons I'm particularly excited about are Biden's executive orders. They're a reason why I'm going to have job security for a while. The orders aim to advance human-centered design in government services. In December 2021, President Biden signed an executive order titled Transforming Federal Customer Experience and Service Delivery to Rebuild Trust in Government. The order directs federal agencies to put people at the center of everything the government does. Very specifically, it identifies 36 customer experience improvement commitments across 17 federal agencies, all of which aim to improve people's lives and the delivery of government services. These touch points include cross-agency processes that align to the moments that matter most in people's lives, like turning 65, having a child, or applying for a small business loan. Down the line, this means every interaction between the government and people, whether it's filing taxes or renewing a passport, is an opportunity to deliver the service and efficiency that public expects and deserves. This executive order will modernize programs, reduce administrative burdens, and pilot new online tools and technologies to provide simple, seamless, and secure experiences. This means that human-centered design is a mandate that will no longer be relegated just to private sector products and apps. Well-designed experiences will be an expectation and no longer exceptional. And the concept of good and delightful will continue to elevate. With the elevation of expectations and demand, teams across the public and private sector will continue to grow more responsive, flexible, and agile. Design organizations will need to be able to respond quickly to change and bend without breaking. Businesses and institutions will need to evolve as the needs for great experiences continue to scale. With the demand for great experiences comes the demand for great teams and the support that DesignOps provides for those teams. And this is a chance for sprinkling a little bit of hope on top of a big opportunity to use our leadership skills to shape necessary progress. We know DesignOps not only helps provide the processes, platforms, and tools for those teams, but also the internal experiences of those teams. As we've seen the demand for talent grow during the pandemic and the expanded choices available to the workforce due to remote work, the design talent has a larger influence on the future of companies than it used to. With all of that, not only does DesignOps have a bright future ahead of us in regards to opportunity, we also have a chance to encourage the best in business, from the experiences they provide their customers, the experience and benefits they provide their employees, to the decisions they make about the kind of impact these companies want to have on the world in general. Instead of the word resignation, I prefer talking about the big shifts over the last 2 years as the great reflection. The introspection and recalibration of people and the relationship to work prove that employees can drive business and thus the greater human experience. This is why it's so important to reflect inward before we focus outward. As we work towards and into the future, preparing ourselves to hold up the pillars of practice is essential and can't be ignored. We have a long road of opportunity, change, and challenge ahead of us. Let's make sure we have our North Stars in sight and our personal design operations at the ready. So I'm going to close my talk today with some bookends. Why DesignOps for ourselves? Our roles at any organization will always be fluid. Our function will always be living, breathing, changing, and growing because our purpose is to empower our teams to do their best work in an ever-changing world. We sustain our work by focusing our attention on empowering ourselves as well as our teams, aligning and improving our processes, and defining the impact and value of our own skills, insights, services, and potentialities. When we focus on our well-being and goals, we are better able to drive our business, partners, and teams towards success. This focus allows us to provide a more engaging, fulfilling, and magnetic experience for everyone around us. In a world that's always in flux, we must evolve in response to the numerous factors that cause us to morph, bend without breaking. Understanding our capabilities, creating strong foundations for our performance and resiliency, and doing the work we need to do to strengthen our footings while we continue to grow. We enable ourselves to do our best work by laying a solid groundwork that supports and extends our work. May your individual capabilities establish the requirements you need to be happy with your career and not settle, align with your higher level outcomes, plan for training development and your own growth, and being resilient through the change. DesignOps looks outward and connects with our business and goals to grow awareness of our proactive and best contributions, build positive perceptions of ourselves, work with our advisors, coaches, and friends to craft our own missions and goals. We've human-centered design into how we work and develop our craft. Look at how we drive our own operations from a systems perspective and how we lead excellence in the world around us. We have all the tools we need to do this for ourselves, and I hope you all take a chance to spend some time doing so. Listen to yourselves, outline your frustrations and pain points, take note of the perfect day. What can you do for yourself to make your job easier and to be more fulfilled in your work? I've shared some tools, reference articles, and inspirations for personal well-being and care via Notion. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please be excellent to and for each other and yourself. Thank you.
Oh, amazing. I wish we could just take everyone off mute and give you a round of applause. That was really wonderful, Francis. I appreciate so much that, that first and foremost, what you highlight here is that the work that we do, it really comes from a place of introspection first. And that really flows into every facet of the work that we do and connects directly to it. So I so appreciated leading with that. It also, another thing that stood out to me is, not letting ego block you. And I'm looking at the questions in the chat and just the things I've been reflecting on as well. I think so many folks in this room find themselves coming from what I keep hearing coined as a non-traditional background. And I almost want to challenge that idea of there is not one right path into this role. And it truly is about your experience, your soft skills, your hard skills, your training, your just being a learner in general that can lead you into a role in design ops, and that's okay. And so oftentimes I think we are a little bit apologetic about I haven't been in this career very long, or like I'm new to design ops, or I come from this background completely wildly different than design. And yet that is exactly what makes you a fantastic operations specialist. And so really embracing that idea. And I love that you just, that resonates so much with me, and not letting our ego get in the way of like, what is our story that we bring into our role. So I want to just go into a question that's gotten several different upvotes along the same line from Gary that asked, any recommendations for those wanting to transition into design ops from other fields like retail, copywriting, graphic design, or some examples?
Yeah, so those are all different ways to get into the field. And I think one of the things that I really love about design ops is the fact that, I came from the design industry. And so I've had, about 20 years prior to design ops in the ego-filled part of design. And so I think what's really great about design ops is that you can come in at any point and be an equal with the design leaders, because you are providing everything that their teams need. And so I think whenever you are transitioning into design ops, one of the things that you can do is, again, join one of the communities. Design Ops Assembly has the learning labs. We've got, so much rich material in these conferences. And within the design ops community, one of the great things that I find different is that everybody is so willing to share and give input. Whereas in, traditional design, sometimes, at least from my experience, people held on to their ideas so closely because they wanted to, they wanted to have the best idea. They wanted to have, the winning design, right? But in design ops, it's like you want to spread, success. It's not one company trying to hold on to their design ops ways of doing things, right? Everybody shared. So I think whenever you're in a community like that, you get to see the commonalities between your role and what your experience is, and learn how to articulate those in the design ops language. So there's basically just a way to reframe your skills so that you can apply it to like what a design ops job description might look like. It's really taking a look at those and saying, what can I bring to the table? Because a lot of times, that's the stuff that is the operational excellence that, we might not see from a traditional path. And those are ways to kind of like add new ideas. Design ops really just came out of like extra work that, for me, extra work that people were doing to like make sure their teams were operating, and they weren't in the design, kind of like discipline quite yet, but it's starting to become part of the discipline because we're having so many people come in from outside.
Absolutely, you are right. We have 60 seconds left, so this is could be a yes, no question, or you could probably expand on it. But the question is from Peter. Your example here used the word personal a lot. Would this work also be useful, doable for small teams of design ops practitioners? And would it work for teams where there is no one with design ops the role, but several with design ops the mindset?
Yes, yeah. Basically, all you need to do is go in and change the words. And I mean, essentially, that's what I did. I went in and used the exercises and methods that we use in design operations to just change the words to personal, right? So you can take these and turn them into a workshop and have your team come up with your goals together. But again, making sure that you're focusing on yourselves and your strengths so that you can like build on each other. But this is really just for, there's a lot of design op teams of one. So kind of started with the beginning, but it can also be expanded. And I shared a lot of these tools and some workshops and Miro boards on the Notions link that's in the lower corner.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much for those resources and for this talk. It's super, super fruitful. And I know folks are going to take a lot from it. So thank you so much. We now have a short break and another chance for you all to network with your fellow attendees. Just navigate to the lounge tab to join one of the tables, or you can check out the Tech Lab sessions with Brainwriter or Team ITG via the agenda tab. See you all shortly.